Hello soul family, welcome to this video. This is going to be a very different, special video for you today. This came as a surprise to me over the last couple of days, and I want to share it with you. This is a channeled piece, and this is, as always, unscripted, uncut. You're getting it as it comes out of me, through me, for you, for us as a collective here. Now, it's interesting because I was really feeling quite like stagnant. As you may know, if you've been here for a while, I create a monthly energy report for us. So I tune into the energies of the month and what we can expect. And quite honestly, I just wasn't feeling it. And not feeling it from a sense of not wanting to do it, but I just felt like what I had been creating before, or kind of like the taste of what I'd been channeling before up to this point, I just didn't want to do it that way. I wasn't feeling inspired. I know I wanted to do something, but it hadn't come through as to what that was going to be. And I think also there was a timing thing. It's not unusual for me to channel a little bit later, into the month. I don't always get it right at the very beginning of the month. I just follow my own inner authority, and I go from there, and I just trust the process. But it was interesting this month because today, Monday the 6th of July, I was still sitting on this contemplation and going, well, okay, what's going to happen here? But I feel like I now know why. And this is what I want. Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups. This is what I want to share with you today, and share with us something a little bit special. So I think also what will come of this session and this video today will be the July energy report. So I feel like it is what it is. Time as it arrives is just on time. It's exactly as it should be. So if you've been around here for a while, or at least since the end of last year, you may recall that I received a wizard. I received in a wizard through, I can't remember how it came through. Was I meditating? I can't remember. I was channeling anyway. And I became aware of a wizard energy, and he gave me the details, and I wrote a Substack article about this. He came through on 11/11, and I wrote the Substack article on the 27th of November. Now, it was called 11/11, the day the wizard arrived. How a healing session, a song, the death of a dear soul, and a centuries-old physician alchemist called Paracelsus wove together the clearest sign of my expanding path. So I'll leave a link so you can go and read that if you feel guided. But Paracelsus is like an ever-evolving story and connection with him. And he came through to me yesterday or the day before. He was really present. His energy was very present. And this morning in my meditation, he came through again. So this is going to stretch me beyond my edges. And I think that is the answer to this stagnancy that I'd been feeling around creating a July report in the way that I'd always done it. So of course we're in this really like brand new time. Everything's changed. We've evolved. We're in a whole new era of humanity, of consciousness, and I know that there's things going on the outside that we can't see. That we see that we can't believe is part of New Earth and part of our evolved humanity. Of course we know that, but this is the start. We're at the start point, in terms of hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. We're at the start point. So let me tell you about, I've got a document up here so I can speak to you about Paracelsus. If you've not heard of him before, I'd not heard about him before, ever heard of him until I went down a little beautiful cosmic rabbit hole in November last year. But I am going to be channeling Paracelsus today, which is why I feel a little bit uncertain and a little bit stretched. But I'm aware that as that opened up in November last year, that it was going to be the start of a journey. I don't know how long that journey was going to take, even if it was going to take anything. I just knew that there's always reasons for everything, and Paracelsus and the connection and being able to channel him is one of those things. And I've not channeled him live before in public. So this is a new thing to me. We're doing this together. But I just wanted to share with you who he is. So Paracelsus is a Swiss physician and alchemist. He was born in 1943 in Einsiedeln, Switzerland. He passed away in his 40s, I think. 24th of September 1541. Now he went by a few names, but Paracelsus was his, if we're going to deal with like celebrity famous names back in the Renaissance period, Paracelsus was what he was known as. But his real name is Theophrastus Bombastus von Heineheim. He was the eminent physician and pioneer of toxicology. Let me come down for a little. I've done fair bit of reading up about him, but he's just very fascinating. I'm just going to, as I'm reading, I'm going to share. I'm sorry, my key light's in the background there. I just turn him. There we go. Here he is. So Paracelsus is best known for, he was a 16th century Renaissance physician and alchemist, famously known as the father of toxicology. He pioneered the use of chemicals and minerals in medicine and formulated the core toxicological principle that the dose makes the poison. There are three principles of Paracelsus. He believed that the principles sulfur, mercury, and salt contained the poisons that contributed to all diseases. He saw each disease as having three separate cures depending on how it was afflicted, either being caused by the poisoning of sulfur, mercury, or salt. So I guess when you think about the 16th century and, the fact that he was the foray into modern medicine, I guess, it's like, I guess, aside from salt, which we commonly know, it's interesting that it seems like sulfur and mercury were quite well known, quite omnipresent, if you like, in the world at that time. Let me come down. So Paracelsus was controversial because he criticized the medical practices of his colleagues, the dogmatism of the Catholic Church, and the doctrines of Protestantism. He publicly burnt the books of Galen and Avicenna, whose teachings had been the standard medical theory for 15 centuries. 15 centuries. So you could call him a groundbreaker, a disruptor, a visionary. Yes, let me just come down for a couple of more, if I can give you something else. Did Paracelsus believe in God? Paracelsus, the alchemist, challenged this established order by founding his medical practice on observation, examination, and experimentation. He never doubted God's role in creation, but as we are reminded, he believed that this creation could be explored and understood independent of God himself. I can imagine him being very, his presence. I mean, look, here's his presence. This is just one photo, one portrait. This portrait's by Quinton Massis, and it's a National Trust portrait. It's within, it's in the National Trust archives. Let's have a look. What else can I give? I mean, you know, there is a lot. The Science History Institute. The alchemist, he is the alchemist who wed medicine to magic. His work influenced modern science. What else? I mean, there's so much I can tell you about him. You know, really just to say that he thought differently. He threw out the rule books. He changed the world as far as medicine and beliefs and chemistry is concerned. American Association for the Advancement of Science article here. The question is, how did Paracelsus change the world? Paracelsus considered himself an alchemist. However, his ideas on poison led to the introduction of chemistry into medicine in the 16th century. Although he was not fully appreciated until his death, medicine would be a different field without his contributions. His ideas were even used to cure Louis the 14th. So, a big cheese, a big cheese. And yeah, he came to me, as I say, in November last year, and he has definitely had an impact on my own energy healing service. You know, what the energy healing that I do, he for obviously for me and for people, he came through after. It's interesting because he came through after a dear friend of mine's mother passed away, and there was just this sense from me that I want to say he was responsible for supporting her through passing, but she had an illness that was a very common illness that people can pass from in as humans in these days and times and days. And there's something about there's something here about ingestion, and there's something here about the toxicity of what you take in. So whether that is food, whether that is swallowing your pride, swallowing your words, swallowing. So there's definitely something about he has this theme around ingestion, and that correlates with my dear friend's mum, who had an issue around this area. And I could feel when he arrived in that my throat became tight. I'm just having a look at the article here that I wrote, and it's just jumped out at me. My throat became tight, and I felt movement along the sides of my neck, my lymph nodes, the pressure, the structure, and then the slow, warm release that followed. I stayed with it, knowing I was witnessing something significant unfold. So this beautiful medicine has been, presented by him, by his energy, in this way, through the portal of my dear friend's mum, who had issues around the throat, around this part of the body. And I just get this, oh, I got hiccups again. I just get this sense that there is, he's continuing his work. He's continuing his work on the other side. I know it's centuries ago, but why now? It's like my whole question was like, why now? Why are you coming through now? And I'd always known that I had a wizard. I was a friend of mine in a yoga session many years ago, a few years ago, said, do you know you've got a wizard around you? And I just naturally assumed, like a wizard, peaked hat, cloak, etc. I hadn't really given it too much more thought beyond that, or no thought at all. I just, had an image of a wizard as we would regularly see it. I think you're thinking of my childhood here. Wizards in storybooks. And I hadn't really engaged with it any more than that until last year. So just coming back and piecing things together as I understand them so far, which is just like a very small part of an overall, mission, something that's moving through me, that's something that's supporting us, is that coming back to this neck area and expression and swallowing pride and swallowing thoughts and swallowing words and what we ingest through what is essentially, well, it's not essentially, we need to pass things through our esophagus, through our throat, in order to survive, in order to nourish us. It's not like, we can inject us. We can inject ourselves and provide ourselves with sustenance. We can do that. There is ways to do that, but let's just look at this from a natural bodily function form. That the throat takes in nourishment. It receives in. Why am I pausing? On the phone. It receives. What we consume matters. What we consume matters. It matters to us in a physiological sense, in a physical sense. It matters to us. I'm hearing mentally, but I'm trying to understand what that means. What do you mean? What does that mean? All right, so I'm hearing that we ingest our thoughts through the space that is the throat, the neck area. And it is this is the they're showing me a junction. Paracelsus is showing me a junction. That no matter how you assimilate information, whether it's through touch, whether it's through sight, whether it's through your ears, whether it's through the consumption, through the regular way of doing that as we know it as humans, this is like the I'm hearing transport hub. Everything has to come round through here. Of course, the spine runs through the throat, cervical spine. So that kind of makes sense that everything's going to come up through here to the head, central nervous system, and so the central nervous system has branches and it feeds out to the rest of the body. So everything's communicating with each other together all at the same time as is needed. But there's something here from an energetic from an alchemy perspective, that no matter what you intake, there's this transportation hub through the throat that has responsibility for how that gets distributed, or the fact that it gets distributed. Purely energetic, right? We're not talking about biology here, physiology or anything. This is about the energetic piece. Interesting. Okay. I'm also hearing that I wouldn't say like common disease, but ailments, dis-ease that we are hearing more of in the media. We're just seeing it a lot more. I'm also hearing autoimmune. Every autoimmune dis-ease has its roots, there's a significant involvement around the throat and the neck with autoimmune. I mean, your thymus is here, thymus is in the neck as well. I feel like I'm babbling on a little bit, and I feel like I probably need to channel Paracelsus and see what happens. But I'm just getting this sense of I'm just hearing, pay attention to what you consume, what you inhale, pay attention to what your consumption is. And it doesn't matter whether that consumption is from what you're viewing, you're seeing, you're hearing, you're watching, or whatever. It's the consumption is still the same, and it still roots down through the throat, through the neck area. Which is why everything dis-ease wise is, you can trace it along the journey. At some point, this area of the throat here is an active participant in this. And of course he's a grandfather of toxicology. So this is like a toxic filter. It filters energetically, right? We're not talking about blood and circulation and lymphatics, or we are in a way, because the thymus is part of the lymphatic system, the immune system. But this is your filter, your energetic filter. So just be aware of what you're consuming for a start. Be consciously aware of what you're intaking. From the perspective of it has to be filtered, right? It needs to be filtered. I'm just hearing this filtration system. I feel like we could go on quite a long time about this, but I just want to leave it there because I want to channel. I want to have a go for us at channeling Paracelsus, because I want to see what he's got to say. I want to see where this is going to go, and I want to do it with you. I want us to have this experience together. I think it's going to have a lot of value. I don't know what that value looks like. I can't tell you. What I've shared, I feel like are just pieces of a bigger puzzle that will become clear. But that's channeling for you, okay? It's just that's how it works for me particularly. And I have this, and I just know that there is this initiatory energy that happens where we land. It's like, okay, you want me in here, we'll go in here, we'll land here, I'll share whatever is channeled through me, and it is an initiation of sorts. So it's just the beginning of something. It's a spark of something that like cracking an egg. If you crack the tip of the egg, boiled egg, you know, crack the top, and then it can all it's all free to be exposed, go out into the world. I'm just feeling, I'm just getting a sense of my throat now. All right, I don't know. I'm going to let's just see what he's got to say. I'm going to I just want to see his face as I tune in. Have a candle here. I also felt guided to get some flowers, camellias from the garden and cosmos from the garden, to join us. All right, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's do this. Calling in Paracelsus, the spirit of light, the highest light and love. I open myself up to receiving your love, light, inspiration and truth. I reach beyond the confines of the earth, body and mind. Only the highest and best energies are coming to me, and so it is. Saying put your hand on my picture. Welcome, dear souls. Welcome, humans of your time. It's so wonderful to be with you here today, to be able to have this opportunity to speak to you directly through Sam. We are the special people. And when I say special, I don't mean from a higher level. I mean that we are on the ground, the grassroots of the plateau that has been reached in terms of the advancements. And of course, I speak to medicine and to technology and to the land, the earth, the soil, the minerals, and the merging of what is known as modern medicine and the modern medical profession, and what is the true medicine, the long-lasting, has always been here in and of us and around us, and that which we have been birthed from as well, is the earth, the particles, the atoms, the molecules, everything that comes into the physical, tangible existence, whether that be salt, sugar, dirt, leaves, plants, herbs, all has a chemical structure and is also made of the stars, the particles, and there really is no difference between what is created in a test tube and what is formed from the ground and out of the ground. I spoke to that word plateau. That is, in a sense, a little misleading, for everything is being developed, and of course there are some magnificent people in the world that are doing incredible things with medicine. There are many things in a test tube that can be toxic, in as much as there are plants in the ground that grow very freely in the meadows and valleys of planet Earth that are also toxic. And there is this sense that which is toxic can also be assimilated into the body and form a balm, a protective shield, so that other toxins cannot be consumed, for it creates a barrier. The toxin is a barrier for other toxins to be kept out. So there is this sense that toxins are harmful, but there are other toxins in test tubes of the world that are harmful too. So we are always in a situation where it is difficult to fully understand what is being taken into the body, for we will never know for sure. But we are always, no matter where we are in space and time, no matter what period of time, decade, century, future period, there will always be a sense of discernment around what is consumed. I witness many experiences in my lifetime that there was fear around that which was looking as if it could kill you. And what I suggest in that time could be seen and assumed that this medicine that was introduced to the lay person could also kill you. But there is always a scenario where there is fear, and fear energy can also create an environment that is highly toxic. For what one's person's beliefs and perspectives of one medicine is inevitably going to be different to another person's, depending on their own past and experience and what they are ingesting from the world and taking in as a truth that for them is incorrect. So you see, I speak today of plant medicine and test tube medicine, and I also speak of the medicine that soothes fear, the medicine that soothes the ingestion of fear that you take into yourself as being whole and accurate for the time and experience you are in. May you think about what you are taking in, for this greatly impacts your overall well-being. Toxicity has many facets and can have many different ways of seeing it. And that which you are ingesting, be aware of what you are ingesting and decide to ingest less if your self needs some respite, to give you time to consider what to ingest, toxic or not, to balance out that which you have ingested, to get to this point. For now, I bid you farewell, and should you wish me to speak, to advise, to offer some words of a toxic nature and a balm to counteract for you, your family, for those persons that you love, I am here to work through this for you. Be sure to arrive here. All is well. I wish you well. Well, I need to go back and listen to that myself. I have no idea if that made any sense. I think this is part of, if there is one lesson and takeaway from this, from a channeling perspective, is that when you're the channel, your job is to channel, not to work out what needs to be channeled. It's just to be the channel. And it's not easy. It's not easy to surrender. And I know, you know, like many of us here, we just have to surrender to the process and trust that we can do our best, and that we just have to continue. If that feels, obviously, that feels compelling to do so. Yeah. All right, we're almost 45 minutes, so I want to thank Paracelsus for being here today. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for joining me on this, I don't know, start of a journey. Who knows where this is going to go, if it goes anywhere. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I'm just always in awe of the decision to say yes to something that just does not make any physical, tangible sense in a human form. So let this be a point of courage and inspiration. And thank you for witnessing me and mine. I'm sending you lots of love. I'd love to hear back from this channeling from you. How did you find it? What downloads did you get? And just, yeah, I just want to say thank you for being here. Sending you lots of love. Till next time.